Hi, my name's Lucy, and I really don't like to be the center of attention. Until I decided to make myself the center of the whole world's attention, and now my life is totally destroyed. As far back as I can remember, I've loved taking photos. The hidden stories they tell, the raw honesty in a single frame. And, most importantly, it keeps me behind the lens and never in front of it. Achoo! Now, I know what you're thinking. Fancy rich girl gets a fancy camera and can coast through life while spending her time taking photos of fancy things. But that's not really the case. Sure, my dad is one of the wealthiest people in town, but you'd never know it from the way he treats me. He's never bought me any branded clothes, never spoiled me at a 5-star restaurant. He's never even given me a birthday present, come to think of it. He'd rather use his money on his fat cat clients so they can keep making each other richer and richer. In fact, he didn't even buy me this camera. That was a gift from my best friend Taylor's mom, Miss Margolis. Wow, thanks, Miss Margolis.
Are you kidding? Thank you for coloring our lives with such wonderful photography. And please, call me Regina.
Miss Margolis? Regina, was like the mother I never had. My mom left us when I was 4. I don't remember much, but I know for sure that that's when my dad's heart started freezing over, until the man I once knew had become a full-grown yeti with a glacier for a chest.
When are you gonna stop with this photography nonsense? How are you gonna ever make any money with that stupid stuff?
Needless to say, I spent all my time at Taylor and Regina's. It didn't bother me that they could only afford an air mattress to sleep on, or that we ate microwavable meals every night. It was the one place that felt like home. And then, when I was in the 10th grade, everything changed. Regina got sick, couldn't work anymore, and could barely keep up with household expenses, let alone afford the surgery that would make her healthy again. I tried asking my dad for help, but that went as well as you'd expect it to go.
What am I, a walking ATM? You need money, you earn it. Just like I had to.
I began to feel guilty that I'd been practically living there without contributing so much as a single dime. I even offered to sell my camera.
Absolutely not. You don't owe us anything, Lucy. You've already given me plenty by spending all these years with us.
I didn't know what to do. But just when all hope seemed lost, Taylor found an advertisement from the billion-dollar brand Floriful saying they were looking for photography submissions for their Be Real campaign. The chosen winner would win a huge cash prize. I knew it was a long shot, but being real is kinda my thing. If you ever want to see the realness of how messy life is behind the glitz and glamour, my dad is a masterclass in how not to live your life. I walked around for hours combing the town, capturing life in its rawest form. Candid smiles of couples in love, faded graffiti on old brick walls, anything that told a real story. Then I submitted them to Floriful, and after 3 agonizing days of waiting, my heart exploded with excitement. I won! Or at least, I must have won. Those were my photos, front and center on Floriful's website homepage. But why hadn't I been notified? As I clicked on the article and looked closer, what I saw nearly crushed me to pieces. Someone else had taken credit for my work.
I'm so humbled to know that my vision, my passion, my soul touched Floriful so deeply, they just had to pick me and didn't just settle for something amateurish.
As I looked deeper, I found out that Fiona was the niece of Floriful's CEO. What a scam! I couldn't bear to tell Regina the news. I went to school the next day, hopelessly depressed. That's when I saw Eli walking in my direction. Now, normally, we would do our typical routine. Me, cowering beneath the shadows of his beautiful hair and massive brain. Him walking by like I was a particularly uninteresting ficus. But this time was different. This time, he was walking straight towards me.
Hey, you're Lucy, right?
Well, I can be a Lucy if you want me to be.
But your name's Lucy, right? Like Lucy with a C?
Yeah, Lucy with a C. How smart. Some people think it's with an S. One guy thought it was a Q, but he was an exchange student, so I guess that doesn't count.
Okay, Lucy. My name's Eli. I'm the editor for the school paper, and I saw some of your photos. They're brilliant. We're looking for a photographer for our next big story. Only problem is, we don't exactly have a story yet. Well, there was a fish that went missing from a classroom, but that's not exactly Pulitzer material.
And then, under the weight of the pressure and sadness and indignation of losing what was rightfully mine, My shyness evaporated. I burst out and told him everything. I told him about Taylor and Miss Regina, and the Be Real competition and Fiona. And I watched as I saw a side of Eli that I had never seen in all those years of pretending not to gaze at him from afar. He was mad, like fuming mad.
How could they do that to you? After all the great work you put in? That's outrageous!
I couldn't believe it. The smartest kid in school, and third most handsome by gossip's consensus, was angry on my behalf. Eli vowed to go forward with the story in the school paper. But first, we had to find Fiona.
As an investigative journalist, I know a lot more than I probably should.
Like what?
Like Fiona's address, for example.
We got into Eli's car and sped to Fiona's house. I felt more alive and more assertive than I have in years.
Don't be nervous. When she answers, just...
Thanks. But when it comes to defending my work, I don't need a pep talk. Who was this person I was becoming? Or was I finally rediscovering my old self? Was the Be Real campaign uncovering a real me I'd forgotten years ago? I rang the doorbell, and Fiona herself answered. But to my surprise, she looked different, more tired than she did online, and maybe almost nice? At that moment, all my previous confidence shriveled up like an overexposed photo left out in the sun.
Hey, can I help you?
Fiona. It is Fiona, right? Of course it's Fiona. After all, this is Fiona's house. What were we here for again?
I'm Eli Bellinger. I'm with the Northwood Times. We're here to ask you some questions.
Oh, right. Okay, well...
Fiona, don't slouch and fix your hair. You look tired. What have I told you about answering the door like some intern?
And suddenly, everything about her changed. She began to morph into every it girl that ever terrorized me at school, like a werewolf at full moon.
I don't have time for this. But Eli, here's my number. Call me if you want to interview someone who doesn't need a pep talk to ring a doorbell. No offense.
This witch! First she takes my work, now she tries to take my friend, I guess? I couldn't contain myself anymore. My name is Lucy, and you stole my photos to win the Floriful competition.
Excuse me? Your photos? Please. In case you weren't aware, I graduated as the top portfolio pick at the Willow Ridge Visual Arts Academy, won 2 regional youth photography awards, and got featured on the front page of Shutterstone's Next Gen Visionaries issue. But sure, let's pretend I needed to steal your pictures. Now, why don't you make it like the Floriful campaign says and get real? Call me Eli.
I didn't know what was worse, having my hard work plundered or being brutally embarrassed in front of Eli. The drive home started off silent, but just as I was wondering what could possibly be going through Eli's mind, he said the perfect thing.
We should get pizza.
He took me to my favorite pizza joint, the same spot I would go to with Regina and Taylor every Tuesday. And as we started having our first real conversation, I realized we actually had a lot in common. All these years, I had been avoiding him out of fear, when in reality, he was one of the easiest people to talk to. He also had problems with his father, who got scammed by a rich con man when Eli was little. Now his dad only showed up to his house every couple of years to ask his mom for money. 2 broken homes, and a basket of garlic knots holding us together.
That's why I can't stand people like Fiona. Just another snobby rich kid feeding off of people like us who really need the money. You know what I mean?
Yep. Unlike her, just 2 humble peasants. Gotta go harvest some potatoes after algebra.
Makes me mad just thinking of her.
Yeah, she's like a squirrel with a credit card.
What?
I don't know. It made sense in my head. And he even found me funny. After Eli dropped me off at Regina and Taylor's, the weight of my reality crashed back down on me. I barely slept through the night. I just kept refreshing Floriful's homepage over and over again. I even began to doubt whether those photos really were mine. The next morning, I sulked into the kitchen, totally dejected. But that's when I saw Regina cheerily making us her special secret pancake recipe. And I remembered, this wasn't about me or Fiona at all. This was about Regina and her health. And if she could put together a smile and trudge forward every day, so could I. So later that day, I marched right up to Eli. I didn't even care that other people were looking at me. That weird feeling was back again. You know, confidence. We need to write this article, and we need to write it now.
Now that's the girl who took those photos.
We spent the entire day secretly messaging each other bits and pieces of the article back and forth while pretending to pay attention in class. I scribbled a note to Eli as fast as I could. We need a stronger ending. Fiona's gonna wriggle out if we're too polite. Eli read it, and then, like the true nerd he is, pulled out a pen. First, he actually corrected my grammar. Then, just for extra spice, he scribbled a note above the word polite.
Polite? Weak sauce. We're going full spicy.
I blinked at it. This boy had literally proofread my panic scribble in the middle of algebra, and he was proud of it too. I bit my lip to keep from laughing, grabbed my pen, and drew the dumbest, soggiest looking noodle you've ever seen, right next to his weak sauce edit. The teacher noticed the note passing.
Lucy, is there something you'd like to share with the class?
Just gratitude, Mr. Barnes, for algebra. Eli barely held back a snort. The teacher gave us the side eye, but moved on. Sure, it was just the school newspaper, but Eli was good. Some of his articles had gone viral in the past. He even served as a TV correspondent once on the news. Later that week, I found Dad in his office, buried in spreadsheets as usual. Hey, Dad, do you have a minute?
I have 30 seconds. I got a meeting.
I hesitated, then held out one of my photos, the one Regina said looked like hope. Maybe, just maybe, my photographs could help sway him. I thought this one turned out well. He gave it a glance for maybe a second.
Still wasting time with that camera, I see.
It's not a waste. I actually won. Well, I almost won this contest, but
You want to play artist? Fine. But don't come crying when the real world eats you alive.
I swallowed hard. But Regina's really sick, and I was wondering if maybe...
Still not my problem.
But she's practically family.
All heart, no sense. Just like your mother.
The doorbell rang for my dad's meeting, and at first I was relieved to get out of this conversation, until I saw who it was.
You must be Eli.
OMG, is that Eli?
You're a lot younger than I expected. Let's just get this over with.
My dad went into the conservatory, and just as I tried to hide behind one of the statues in our foyer...
Lucy?
Eli! Hey! What are you doing here?
What are you doing here?
I work here. May I take your jacket, by the way?
Oh man, you have to work for this guy? I'm sorry to hear that, but don't worry. I'm about to write the most scathing expose on him.
I forced a laugh and led him to the conservatory, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might echo off the marble. Would you like a refreshment before your meeting, sir?
Sure? Orange juice?
I darted toward the kitchen, which I'm usually not even allowed to go into, and grabbed a tray of orange juice, much to the horror of our housekeepers. I balanced the tray for dear life, and just as I arrived in the conservatory, the housekeeper burst through the door.
Ma'am, please don't. Your dad would kill me if he saw you doing this.
My dad, the cook? Why would he care? She looked at me like I'd lost my mind. And then I did exactly what I was trying so hard not to do. I tripped and spilled the juice all over my dad's favorite antique rug. To my dad, this was a nightmare. To Eli, it was a bright, sticky confession.
I'm a journalist, Lucy. I know a lie when I see one.
I couldn't say anything. I just stood there, frozen, orange juice pooling at my feet. The next day just so happened to be the day our article about Floriful was supposed to come out. I checked the school newspaper, but the front page was just a dumb story about our school mascot's favorite rock and roll bands. In fact, the whole entire paper and its corresponding website didn't have a single story from Eli anywhere, which almost never happens. I looked for him all over the place, but he was nowhere to be found. That night at Taylor and Regina's, I felt both embarrassed and abandoned. And just when I thought things couldn't get worse, I received an email with a subject that said, "One more photo to add," from a sender that made my stomach drop to the floor. Fiona. I clicked on it, and there, enlarged on my computer screen, was a horrifying picture of Fiona and Eli? And she had her arm around him? I couldn't make up my mind about whether to throw up on the screen or smash my computer to pieces. But instead, I sprung from my chair and marched all the way down to Eli's front door. No more Miss Shy Girl! I got there just as he arrived in his rickety old car. Care to explain where you were?
I had an interview.
An interview. Then what's this?
So what? I can't interview someone anymore? She apologized for the way she acted. She said she gets defensive when it comes to her work and explained she was out of line.
Her work? Eli, she's lying.
And what about you? Do you really need this contest money after all?
Look, I'm sorry I lied about my dad, but you don't understand.
Save it, Lucy. I just don't know what to believe anymore. You're just another spoiled rich kid, too.
Wow. You know what? I'm gonna go storm off home. And you know why? Because I don't have my dad's car to drive off in, or my dad's money to call a cab home, or my dad's love to come pick me up. But yeah, I'm real spoiled. For the next couple of weeks, I redirected my efforts. I'd spent so much energy fighting Fiona that I'd forgotten how great it was to spend quality time with Taylor and Regina. We settled back into our routines. And truth be told, I settled back into my shyness. Being behind the scenes started to feel comfortable again. But I could tell Regina was still in pain, and she really needed surgery. Even worse, Floriful had the nerve to advertise an upcoming Q&A with the special winner of their Be Real campaign. Not me, Fiona. A couple of days later, I found a note stuffed in my locker. Meet me behind the library. Yeah, no thanks. I threw it straight in the trash. The next day, there was another one. Please, it's important. Trash. Third day. I'm sorry, at least hear me out. Trash. Hey, I was perfectly happy never speaking to him again. Mostly. A few days later, I was just minding my own business, walking home, backpack slung over one shoulder, dreaming about microwavable mac and cheese. When suddenly, a bag slipped over my head. I knew high school would kill me! Then someone shoved me into a car. 20 minutes later, they plopped me onto a chair. I thrashed around like a feral raccoon until the bag was finally lifted. And standing there, looking way too proud of himself, was Eli.
Relax. It's just me.
You kidnapped me?
You left me no choice.
I glared at him, panting like a cornered cat. And then he pulled out his secret weapon. A sad, crumpled bag of garlic knots.
Truce?
I stared at the bag, then at him, then back at the bag. Some battles aren't worth fighting. You're lucky I'm weak for carbs.
I'm so sorry. I know it'll be impossible to make up for what I said to you, but I have a surprise that might help.
I braced myself for, I don't know, a heartfelt speech. Instead, he pulled out his laptop, and front and center was that same disgusting photo of him cuddling up with Fiona. Eli, if this is some sort of twisted joke, it is not funny.
No, Lucy, seriously. Look closer.
I was about 2 seconds away from hurling his laptop into the sun, but then he zoomed in, and there it was, hiding in the background of that gross photo, Fiona's email inbox. A whole page of messages, including one that said, "Like and subscribe to MSA, or I steal your work." Just kidding. But seriously, you should. Anyway, there, between all the junk mail and regrets, was a message from her uncle, the CEO of Floriful, with a subject line that read, Be Real contest winner, Lucy Roth, dated 2 whole days before Fiona was announced as the winner. As much as I tried to stay mad, a tiny, smug grin betrayed me. Well, this doesn't excuse how you treated me, but I'll admit, it's a good catch. However, you're writing the article this time.
I think we're gonna need more than just a photo. Otherwise, she'll be able to say it's fake. We need to catch her off guard.
Well, lucky for you, your bestie Fiona is making a public appearance soon at the Floriful Q&A.
She's not my bestie.
Oh, could have fooled me. You two looked very cozy.
I was investigating, undercover.
Sure, real deep cover operation there, Agent Bellinger.
Focus, Roth. This Q&A might be our shot.
Perfect. Let's blow her cover live. Eli used his journalism connections to get 2 press passes to the event, which was being held at the fanciest hotel in town.
Seeing as how this is your plan and your work, I think it's best if you do the talking.
What? Me? But there's so many people here, and so many cameras. I'm more of a behind-the-lens kind of girl.
That's all in your head. You got this. I believe in you.
But as the event started, and Fiona started lying her face off on the stage, it became harder and harder to stop myself from bursting.
And for this next photo, I really wanted to capture the feeling of solitude, of inner peace.
People were eating up her fake work like it was the second coming of Picasso. I had enough. I shot my hand up so fast and nearly dislocated my shoulder. I have a question. The whole crowd turned. Fiona spotted me, and for a half a second, she flinched. Then she slapped on that fake smile of hers.
Oh, sure. You there, with the confidence.
You talk a lot about solitude, but honestly, your photos just look lonely, not real. You ever think maybe it's because real friends can spot a faker from a mile away? I guess friendship's not really your thing.
Oh, please. I have loads of friends. In fact, some of us are practically family. Right, Eli?
I stood up fully, striding toward the front, feeling a fire I hadn't felt in, well, maybe ever. The rest? All mine. Lucy Roth. Hi. Nice to meet you. Gasp. Somewhere, someone actually dropped a wine glass.
That's a lie! She's obsessed with me. She's like my biggest fan. Probably has a shrine to me in her closet made out of my Instagram stories.
People started snickering. Fiona straightened up like someone had just pulled her strings.
You know what? Maybe I did inspire her. Maybe if she spent more time working on her talent instead of obsessing over me, she wouldn't be crying in public like a little crybaby.
And without missing a beat, I turned to Eli. Was that an inspirational quote? Should I embroider that on a pillow? The crowd cracked up. Fiona's face went purple, like an eggplant wearing mascara. And then it happened. Eli gave the secret nod. For our plan, it was go time. Suddenly, the big screen behind Fiona flickered, and boom, there it was. A blown-up screenshot of the email from Floriful's CEO, clear as day. Be Real contest winner, Lucy Roth. The whole room gasped like someone had let out a massive fart in church. Fiona didn't notice at first. She just kept talking, acting like the queen of authenticity. But when she finally turned around and saw it, it was like watching a Jenga tower collapse in slow motion. She froze, then let out this tiny, pitiful little squeak.
Oh, fudge.
And that's when things got really chaotic. Her dad practically launched himself onto the stage, flailing like a businessman who had just lost a deal.
That's a fake! Security! Remove her!
I barely had time to panic before a squad of security guards came barreling toward me like I was some kind of criminal mastermind. I braced myself to get dragged out by my hair, but then Fiona absolutely lost it.
Stop!
And when I say the whole room froze, I mean like a Disney movie where time just stops. Fiona stood there, shaking like a soda bottle about to explode, and croaked out,
She's right. I stole the photos, okay? I stole them because I just wanted my dad to finally look at me the way he looks at his stupid golf trophies.
I swear you could hear a pin drop. Even the security guards looked awkward. Then, and I'm not making this up, Fiona grabbed the Be Real trophy off the podium and shoved it into my hands like it was a hot potato.
You're more real than I'll ever be.
And then she ran off stage, sobbing into her overpriced designer scarf, with her dad stumbling behind her, yelling something about lawsuits and PR disasters. Meanwhile, I just stood there, on stage, holding the trophy. And for once, I didn't feel like hiding behind a lens. I stood tall. Cameras flashed. People clapped. And somehow, in the middle of all that chaos, I finally felt seen. By the next day, the story wasn't just in our school newspaper. It was everywhere. Suddenly, I wasn't the girl behind the lens anymore. Floriful's CEO scrambled to fix the mess, even doubling the cash prize. It was enough to pay for Regina's surgery, and maybe open a few new doors for me too.
I got a scholarship to the Bernbart Journalism Institute. I was thinking you could, maybe you could apply too? Because, every writer needs a good photographer, right?
When I got home, the last thing I expected to see was the school newspaper framed on my dad's desk, next to a cup of cold coffee and a spreadsheet, like it had always belonged there.
That one, that's your photo, right?
Yeah. He nodded, like he didn't trust his own voice. Then he added,
I didn't know you had that kind of eye. Your mom, she used to see the world like that too.
He didn't say, I'm sorry. He didn't say, I'm proud. But he left the frame right there. And that was enough. For now.
I'm not sure how you noticed all that.
I don't know, Dad. I guess it's just called being real.